People started vanishing in my village quietly, without reason. At first, it was easy to dismiss. A college freshman who never came home from the library. A high school junior who stepped out between classes and never reached his next period. The kind of disappearances that could almost be explained away. Maybe they ran off. Maybe they were hiding. Maybe they just needed space. But then it kept happening. One every few weeks at first, then more frequently, until the town buzzed with panicked theories. The victims were always young, between 16 and 22, but otherwise had nothing in common. Honors students and troublemakers, athletes and quiet bookworms, kids who had everything to live for, and others who'd been struggling. The only pattern was the absence of patterns, and the complete lack of evidence. No signs of struggle, no disturbed belongings, no frantic last texts or ominous social media posts. Just empty beds where someone should have been sleeping, abandoned backpacks in school hallways, cars left running in parking lots with the doors hanging open like the drivers had simply evaporated mid-motion. People whispered about a cult operating in the woods outside town. There were always rumors about those wood-sold stories, about settlers who'd gone missing centuries ago, about strange lights seen between the trees. Some claimed the missing kids had joined some kind of extremist group, that they were living off-grid in some compound, waiting to… what? No one could ever finish that thought. Others blamed a predator, a faceless man who moved through crowds unseen, who knew how to take people without leaving traces. The police investigated, of course. They questioned families, friends, teachers. They searched homes and lockers and browsing histories. They found nothing. The schools reacted first. The high school installed security cameras in every hallway, assigned monitors to every exit. Students had to scan ID badges to leave classrooms. Attendance was taken every period, and absences were called home immediately. For a while, it seemed to help. Then, a junior named Daniel Whitaker disappeared from the boys' locker room during gym. The cameras showed him walking in. They didn't show him walking out. The strangest thing wasn't the disappearances themselves. It was how the town reacted, or didn't. There were no vigils, no news specials, no viral hashtags. The families grieved, of course, but quietly, behind closed doors. The police stopped giving updates. The school board meetings, where parents had once demanded answers, now focused on budget cuts and parking lot repairs. It was like the town had collectively decided to forget. And maybe I would have too, if I hadn't seen the mats. I've always been a walker. When the rest of the town was busy pretending nothing was wrong, I took long, aimless walks just to clear my head. My favorite route was a loop around Harper Lakea, small, wooded reservoir about a mile outside town. It used to be crowded. Joggers, dog walkers, teenagers skipping class to smoke by the water. But after the disappearances started, the trail emptied. People stopped going out alone. They stopped going out at all. That's why I noticed the first mat. It was a cheerful little thing, bright green with cartoon paw prints and the words, "Wipe your paws here," in bubbly font. It sat directly in the center of the trail, pristine, as if someone had just placed it there. I stopped, frowning. It was too clean to have been there long. No dirt, no dew, just new. I stepped around it and kept walking. 20 feet later, there was another. Same style, same condition. This one was slightly off-center, angled toward the tree line. Then another, and another. Each one led me farther off the main path, closer to the water's edge. The lake was low that season, and a narrow stretch of exposed rock formed a natural bridge to the other side. The mats continued there too. I should have turned back. I didn't. The trees grew thicker as I followed the trail of mats. The underbrush was dense, but the mats, always placed just where I needed to step, nextled me through without snagging my clothes. Then, suddenly, the forest opened into a perfect circle of bare earth. No grass, no weeds, just hard-packed dirt, smooth as a floor. In the center sat one final mat. This one was different, larger, handmade. A slab of warped plywood covered in letters cut from magazines and glued haphazardly. WELCOM, EHOM. E laughed. The sound came out too loud, too sharp in the quiet. This was it? Some stupid art project? Some bored kid's idea of a prank? Then I noticed the trees. They were too tall, too close together. The branches didn't rustle in the wind because there was no wind. The air was perfectly, unnaturally still, and the light it was wrong. Too dim, too grey, like the sun had faded without me noticing. I turned to leave. Don't go. The voice wasn't a voice. It was the scrape of bark, the creak of branches, the sound of roots shifting underground. It came from everywhere and nowhere. My ears rang a high, drilling whine, like a swarm of insects trapped inside my skull. I spun around. They stood at the edge of the clearing. Dozens of them, pale, smooth, shaped almost like people, but not quite. Too long in the limbs, too sharp in the joints. Their faces were blank, featureless, but I could feel them watching me. They didn't move, didn't breathe, just waited. I ran. Branches whipped at my arms. The whine grew louder, unbearable, like a drill biting into bone. I tripped, fell hard, and when I looked back, one of them stood at the clearing's edge. Its hand lifted. Not in a wave, not in a threat, just acknowledgement. Soon, I didn't stop running until I hit pavement. The disappearances stopped after that. No more missing posters, no more frantic parents on the local news. The schools relaxed their security measures. The town moved on, but sometimes, when I pass Harper Lake, I see them between the tree-smooth, waiting shapes where nothing should be. And sometimes, very quietly, the wind sounds like whispering. I don't walk the trail anymore, but I think they're still waiting for me. I hope the stories doesn't ruin your sleep entirely. If you're still craving more spooky shit, click subscribe, hit the notification bell, and like the video to increase views. If you have any stories of your own, feel free to message them to me, and I'll add them in a video and shout you out. Spooky Daddy out.